Welcome everyone, and thank you for tuning in to our opening on the Edge. And a huge welcome, Rachel Hannan.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Hi.
you for being here.
Pleasure.
And congratulations on producing one of the most beautiful bodies of work I've ever seen. It really is delightful.
Thank you, Robyn. Thank you.
And I'm sure you're happy with this selection for. It's just the landscape, and of course, it's all Blue Mountains.
It's all within a few kilometres of my house, actually, as the crow flies, not as the car drives.
No. And so, can you walk to most of these places?
No. The ones out at Butterbox along Mount Hay Road, that's quite a long kind of humpy dumpy dirt track. The Blackheath ones are a bit further, but I don't think there are any flat rock ones here, are there? And the others are in Katoomba, but they're not that far.
They're just beautiful, and of course, the Blue Mountains are iconic. Doesn't matter where in Australia you live, you at some point in your life must probably visit the Blue Mountains. So I think it's a bit special to have it here. So this exhibition opens Saturday 10th. Unfortunately, we can't have a physical opening, so we might try and have that on the 17th if we are allowed, but we'll have to see about that. And otherwise, we're going to have this interview now, and our little gallery walkabout will act as our opening event, and I'm sure you'll all enjoy it. So it will run through until August the 1st. If you are interested in purchasing a piece, get in touch with me as soon as you can. We have already sold quite a few pieces. So let's start a little with, let's start our little conversation with your background. I know you have a university education in art. You have a large family, dogs. I'm just trying to think of a love of the wilderness and the wildlife. So has it always been that way? Have you?
So when I was young, I was obsessed with horses, and there was a place actually down the road where there was a fabulous Spanish dressage teacher with this little thing on the side of the hill, and he had all these horses, and I just wanted horses so badly. And my parents were like, well, if you go and clean out stables all week, you can have one lesson a week, right? So after doing that for about a year and a half, George Pizar, his name was, he rang my father when I was 8 and said, if anyone deserves a horse, it's your daughter.
Oh my gosh,
at 8. She's worked so hard. So then I just, I did get a horse, a really naughty, cheeky devil of a horse who taught me a lot. And I think it was started from that. Like I just was out on my own, no mobile phone, no checking in. I'd get on my bike at 6 o'clock in the morning and go to the paddock, which was at my grandmother's place.
And this is around the Blue Mountains, or is
no,
this somewhere
this
else?
is in Newcastle.
Newcastle. Oh, okay.
And then I'd go off riding for the whole day in the bush, entirely on my own, come back at nightfall. My parents must have had very strong hearts because they never seemed really bothered, or
I don't think they did. Yeah, I don't think they did in those days. I mean, we just used to go and be dinner time and we go home.
It was pretty crazy. So so that was great. It was the best years.
And what about the drawing and the painting then?
So I drew a lot of horses.
You're one of those.
A lot of horses.
Yeah.
Never really into people. And then I did quite a lot of landscapey things when I was a teenager. Did some art camps and things like that. Went off to lake, surrounding areas. My dad was a sailor too, so there was a lot of open water experience.
Right, interesting.
So it just came from those kind of wild, windy, being on my own, being out amongst it, I think, makes me feel really safe and relaxed.
And that's interesting because one of the things that I absolutely love about your paintings is that you put yourself into those paintings. And I don't mean a picture of yourself, I mean how you feel about the landscape.
Yes.
They're wild, I can see that. There is a wilderness about them. There's an energy and vitality that I don't see in very many paintings. And I think that's what makes them quite exceptional.
Yeah.
And so you feel it when you're painting.
I feel kind of like I'm at home when I'm out there. more so than in a city, or like cities are fun and exciting, but they make me anxious, I think, with all those people. Whereas when I'm out there kind of with my son or just with my partner or on my own, it just, it's everything is
and then you're able to transform that straight away, obviously, or do you wait a while, or you just go home and paint it?
So I take a lot of photos. Sometimes I do work out there, but then it would be with gouache or drawing, or I have done some oil paints out there, but often it's hard to get comfortable because it's, you know, it's windy, or there's lots of flies, or it's hot, or so I tend
and scary because I've seen you sitting on the edge.
when it's windy. So I just take heaps and heaps of photos, and I just know how I think part of it is when I paint it is there's this nice kind of reliving of how that day felt. And because I don't have them every day, I really cling on to that. Like, I know it's going to be great when I go, and I kind of, it's that ability to maybe get away from the kids and the school and all the other things that have to happen, and I can be back kind of in the landscape in my studio somehow.
And look, this is a little paragraph that I've taken from something that you wrote, and I'd like to read it to you because you obviously you wrote it, and I guess it just, to me, emphasises what your paintings are about. And you say, I have a connection to the landscape indescribable in words, but that I touch it on through the paint. The space between the stillness and the tearing winds, the ever-changing relationship between forms and dancing light, the gap between what you see and what is actually there, the music of the colours that have no sound, the rhythm and energy of the elements that can't be stopped, won't be harnessed, can't be known. The language is passion, unpredictability, life, birth, sex, death, dangerous and harsh, yet confronting in its realness. It leaves me with the wonder of how to exist in such vast, unkempt beauty. And I see that in your paintings. It's just fabulous.
Thank you.
So there's one other thing that you say, and I haven't touched on this yet, but you say that your art and your music are inseparable. Tell us a bit about how that all goes together.
Okay, so I've always sung a lot, and I play piano and guitar, and we're a fairly musical family. My parents played heaps of music when I was growing up, and I think when I went to art school, I basically paid my way through art school by performing in a band. So I've always sung to make money, and then when I had children, it was much easier to, you know, perform nights than to get paints out, and I never had enough time or space to, I don't know, it was just harder. So I would sing instead, and I sing jazz, so there's a lot of improvising in that as well. And I think the way I improvise, I think I see images and shapes and patterns when I improvise in jazz somehow. And I kind of, you know, I've remembered thousands of lyrics and songs, so I hear rhythm in the wind and the trees and the birds, and so there's just this kind of, and colour. I think colour and melody are kind of inseparable as well, and that a sense of with music, what I like is the space between the notes. I don't like really busy music. I kind of like exploring that. Almost the vastness in the like the space in the music and the landscape. So I think that
I think I wrote somewhere myself that your paintings are like poetry. I can read a lot into them, and I can sort of see that musical poem, and I think that's what's really lovely. Rachel, I could sit and talk about your paintings like forever, but we're very time constricted, so we will move on and do our gallery tour. But I really would like to say thank you for sharing this with us, and to produce a body of work like this is just amazing, and congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Robyn.
Okay.